Hello and welcome to Fletch and Sav, the best bits. This week we're at Carrow Road, home of the Canaries, and we've got some great guests for you.
Yes, Darren, we certainly have Ray Wilkins, Glenn Hoddle, Owen Hargreaves, Steve McManaman, Chris Sutton, Darren Eadie, and Olympic bronze medalist and Norwich fan Anthony Ogogo.
Told you, it's a cracker. Hope you enjoy it. Last weekend,
great start.
Yeah, every team that won in the Barclays Premier League ran further than the team they beat, and the teams that drew ran just about the same. So the recipe last week was nothing to do with ability or match winners or whatever. It was simply the fact that you ran more than the opposition, and that's why you won. If you covered more distance, you won the game. Bournemouth ran 10 kilometres more than Chelsea, which is pretty significant. And then Steve McLaren said on Sunday, didn't he, in the pre-match interview before they played Liverpool, if we're going to win this match today, we have to run further than them. Is this what the Premier League's become? A league where if you run further, you win games?
Well, I mean, first of all, Jurgen Klopp, a big part of his philosophy is to have players work hard, which I think is very underrated in professional football, which sounds ridiculous, but I think if you can get good players to work very hard and buy in, impress, and I think that's the first game against Newcastle which they were outrun since he's taken over. So I think it's a little bit simplistic to take the stats and say, but I think it is incredibly important that hard players, I mean, I made a living off, outrunning better players than me. So, I think it's one of the most underrated things in football that players work incredibly hard and compete.
You used to be able to go to a ground, surely, Ray, if you got a genuine match winner, you could be under the cosh for a period. You could not have as much possession, but you've got that little bit of dynamite in a bottle that would win the game for you. Do we not see enough of that now in the Premier League? Is that why teams are being built more and more and more now on work ethic?
No, I think teams over the years have been built on work ethic, but I do think this year we've probably got a slight dearth of real world-class footballs playing in the Premier League. I think this year's Premier League, for me, hasn't been nowhere near as good as previous years.
When you look at where they are now and what they've achieved and all the stuff that's come out with Van Gaal post Tuesday night in the Champions League, what's your assessment? Are they mediocre now? Do the fans have to get used to it? Is he still the right man for the job as Old Trafford?
I think we've always been saying all this season that they're not functioning now. Fans at United would want them to function. They're very slow and predictable the way they play. I think there's youngsters there like Memphis and Martial who I think you need a bit more time to adjust. If you're a foreigner coming in, sometimes it takes a year before you adjust. But at Man United, they want instant success there. I think their problem is where they try, not so much with the ball, it's where they win the ball back. And I really don't see them. I think he's somebody that wants to work on the shape with the ball, but I don't see them really working at the opponents. And I think if they started to work harder at the opponents, winning the ball back in the middle third, not in the defensive third, that would make a big difference to them.
They're all the players that have gone since Louis van Gaal has arrived. There are more than those two.
Yeah, but I also think from Manchester United fans' point of view, they'll be looking at how much money's been spent. And I think it's something around £240 million, which is a lot of money.
But I think one of the most important things people forget really is David Gill leaving that football club. Of course, Sir Alex leaving had a big impact, but all that comes back to recruitment. All that comes back to, buying and getting in the next generation, the next players. And I think losing David Gill, I just don't think they've really replaced him adequately. And I just think there should be a committee of players. There should be ex-Manchester United players, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs. They should be the ones that help decide who is the next player for Manchester United, because I think you can't afford to lose some of those players and go into a must-win game against Wolfsburg and have a front three of Martial, Memphis and Jesse Lingard. You talk about Barcelona, Real Madrid, look at their front three. Neymar, Suarez, Messi. You look at Real Madrid, Bale, Benzema,
I think
James.
United have always been able to be in for the top players in the world, in there. In amongst it.
They're in for them now, Glenn. They just don't get them anymore, do they?
They're not going to come, that's the point. They're not going to come to United. So they've got to have more time.
Would you, if you were running Manchester United, allow him to go and spend another 200 or 300 million on more players to chase what they had before? Or would you say, maybe
if he was on a 5-year contract, yeah, but he's not. He's got a year after.
He's got a year after.
He's got one more year, so you wouldn't give him that amount of money. You've got to say that the two lads up front, Memphis and Martial, they've got to have a little bit more time. Maybe next year they kick in, and but you give him little bit of support. You back him to a degree, but you wouldn't give him what again.
Howard's just raised the point. They've never been the same since he finished.
He's lacing.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. That's not me.
Martial or Chicharito?
Chicharito.
Now, Chicharito.
Oof!
No, I've been saying it for 2 years. I don't know why they let him go.
Will Mahrez be at Leicester next season?
If he keeps on playing the way he is now, no. Someone will take him.
Do you think he'll get through January? Might Leicester be bracing themselves for a few bids in January because those players are available in Europe as well, aren't they?
Well, obviously you got Vardy and him are the two main men,
Yeah.
and there's quite a few of the big clubs needing strikers out there. So you'd think Vardy's going to cost them a lot of money. This lad's a different class.
If you were Leicester, though, Glenn, you'd keep hold of him, wouldn't you?
Well,
I mean,
you would.
surely his price is not going to
Depends on
depreciate from January to May.
It's on the owners, isn't it? It's whether the owners are business people or they really genuinely want to do things on the pitch and take Leicester to levels perhaps they've never been to and become
I
consistent.
just don't see the point of moving your best players on in
No,
January.
not now.
If he's worth 20 million in January, he'll certainly be worth 20 million in May. So you might as well keep him, mightn't you?
I lost my teeth. I was 18. There was a lad playing for Exeter, a lad called Darren Fletcher. The ball was swung in, and he's just caught me flush in the face. I went down, and the physio came running on. He took a look. He went, "Oh, Robbo, you're all right. You've just cut your gum." I carried on playing. The next day, went to the dentist, and he said he could save them, but it'd mean months and probably a couple of years of really hard work, or he could pull them out. I went, whip them out. Probably missing out the night out hurt more than losing my teeth.
And there's one here for Darren, actually. It is Darren Eadie, my good friend. Len says, ask Eadie11 if he's got his Mrs. Aerobics trainers on. Hashtag lots of those.
Do you know what they got them on?
Raimondo on that one.
It's because I have to run it, mate. Keep myself fit so I don't put on weight like you. I always remember the first time I signed for Leicester, and Rob was one of the first players I spoke to when I come to the club, and I kind of knew he was always going to be mates after the first.
Is that not one of the first people you heard when you came at the club?
Well, exactly, and that's the whole point. One of the first things he ever said to me, and this is God's honest truth, one of the first things he ever said to me when I signed for Leicester was he said, "I've got three things," or I'm trying to remember how he called it now, three wonders of the world. He said, "My eyes, my hair and my teeth."
No, you didn't.
He did. That was one of the first things he ever said to me.
I'm not sure. You've copied his hair.
And I thought,
You got the hair, though.
I thought he can't
You haven't
be
got
for real.
the teeth.
I thought the nose was a certainty to one of the three wonders of the world. I can't believe that's not going to
He's
make
making
it.
that up.
How's your shoulder?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. I'm working hard on rehab every single day. Just want to kind of get back in that boxing ring and, like I said, put the dancing shoes aside. Won't be donning them ever again. And
Don't think you'll be asked to be.
Do you know when you look at it tonight and Eubank's going to fight Spike O'Sullivan? Are you absolutely sat there thinking that's got to be me? I've got to get into this mix and all that kind of thing.
I'm watching they do like the gloves are off programs.
Yeah.
And, like my appetite. I'm just so hungry for it, man. I'm so hungry for it. I can't wait. Like if it had to be me. But yeah, in the big fight, selling out the O2, selling out this place one day. That's the plan. And I think it'll be a great fight tonight. But whoever wins, I want to be in there, fighting those guys, bashing those guys up.
So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Now, next Saturday from 10 o'clock, we'll be live from BT Sports HQ in Stratford, London. And we're joined by someone who knows you very well.
Yeah, my ex-manager, Martin O'Neill. What a legend he is. And he once said about me that all I lacked was ability. I wonder where he's going to make him as me as a TV presenter.
After that link, probably the same.
Well.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers, Kevin.